All right, welcome to the Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 4 review.
Yes.
I'm Scott from Pixel Wankers.
I'm the wife, Sam.
And this is Season 6, Episode 4.
Woo!
So, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
First thing is Jon.
I am so delighted. I was hoping Sansa was going to show up at Winterfell because, dear God, they've been through so much, and it was so nice to see a glimmer of happiness there, you know, that they finally get to meet up with each other.
That's the thing, it's like, after, 6 seasons of, Starks, just, having the shit beat out of them, every episode.
And they're spread everywhere.
It's nice to finally get, a good moment for them, finally, some of them are coming back together and actually being able to form some sort of alliance with each other. It meant a lot to in the show to the characters, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I can tell that that's going to be really important in the future. I hope that how awful would that be if they fought Ramsay and then
lost?
Yeah.
Bite your tongue.
I'm not gonna say that because I don't want anything like that to happen.
But we've seen this before in the show where we think, awesome, kind of the part where Tyrion, after he had his trial, and we think, yes, he's going to get out of this. Oberyn's going to kick the Mountain's ass. But eventually we find out he doesn't. And it's no! So I hope Game of Thrones will not do that to us again.
Well, I'm just sitting in the happiness I was sitting in the happiness for the first part of the episode. The cool thing about this episode is that we get a lot of bouncing back and forth between some sort of critical stories. So we'll go over the main critical stories of the episode. And I guess to kind of stay in Jon's area, the other part that happens during the episode is that Sansa says hey, I think we should storm Winterfell and beat the crap out of Ramsay, which is yes, do it, please.
Yeah, she's finally grown a pair, and realized
not only that, she wants to get him back. She wants to kill the guy and take back her home.
Yeah.
It's her home too. You know?
But poor Jon, he's been so defeated, and I understand why he's so hesitant about not wanting to get into more fighting. But of course, Ramsay, being Ramsay Bolton, he provokes him and sends him this god-awful letter about killing his brother, raping his sister, and plucking out his eyeballs and feeding him to the dogs. Yeah, I'd want to kick his ass too.
Yeah, I mean, when how that letter played out, when he got it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be something from once you saw the flayed man on the little sill, you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be something from Ramsay. This is not gonna be good. And he's reading it, and it's declaration of war, pretty much. Come get me. I'm holding your castle, holding your brother, and I've done God knows to your sister, and we'll do God knows more. Here we go. And it's oh my God, I feel so bad for Jon because he doesn't want anything. He just wants to get out of war. He's I just don't want war anymore. I've been brought back from the dead, and I just want to be left alone.
Well,
retire.
I understand that, but I think he'll come to realize that this is what he was brought back for. That he realizes that this is what I'm meant to do. I really truly think that. So even though he's disheartened now,
he's gonna stand up for his family. I mean, we already see that he it sounds like he's gonna go after him. They've talked to the wildlings and they're vastly outnumbered. I'm I really hope some of the houses around kind of get on their side, but I don't know. There's a lot of problems.
There's a long road ahead.
You know what I kind of hope for, and this is such a far stretch, but I kind of hope that somebody else takes care of Ramsay before they get there, almost, or right as they get there.
Really?
Or maybe they're
who are you hoping to have this happen?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's angered a lot of people. I'm thinking maybe Theon and his sister are able to, come in, beat the crap out of Ramsay and maybe join Jon and actually fight with him. because obviously, like, Sansa, you know, has got to know Theon and knows that he's not a bad guy, and, you know, I think that would be a good way to kind of, like,
and he would be the perfect person to give it to him. Yeah, basically.
And right now, this is like a really good moment for those two things, because I was thinking as I was watching the episode, I'm like, wow, they've really spread these families out. Like, before it was all about the Lannisters and Starks, and then this chaotic battle to try and upscale each other. And then really in like season 4 and 5, they've spread everybody out, and like kind of it seemed chaotic. And now all of a sudden I'm starting to see these like little inklings of like, oh, well, this person still has some sort of relation with these people, and they're all going towards sort of the same goal, and they've all been burned by Ramsay, you know, like, so I'm really hoping that they can kind of, like, come together. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of deaths, but that's kind of my prediction, is that they're going to come together and join up and beat him down.
We'll see.
So
let's talk about Tyrion and Meereen and the negotiations he had with the slave masters.
Yeah, I mean, that was really, like, that was an interesting moment in the series, because it's like, you see, like, Tyrion, as much as, like, flawless as you feel like he is throughout all of his, like, negotiations, you kind of see, like, he isn't flawless, he has problems, he really doesn't know what he's necessarily doing to these people, like, I think he has a strong understanding of negotiation and like warfare and economics and things like that. But in the same regard, he sort of has like no respect for like the common folk and like the common folks' problems. You know what I mean? Which is good and bad at the same time. Like the negotiations, like he says, he can't stop war. He can't stop, you know, slavery overnight. But he's gonna have time, and he's gonna need to do these things, and they're gonna have to trust him. And it's hard to say that to someone else who's been in the other situation, and they see that they can't wait 7 years is not.
That's not a
negotiation.
Short amount of time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a negotiation; it's a sentence, really. You know what I mean?
I agree, but I do understand where he's coming from, and it kind of puts in perspective. Like, not that I'm condoning our politicians, but our politicians, like, people in office have to make hard decisions every day and make compromises, you know, and
well,
at least they try to, at least the ones that are really there for the people. But, you know, it shows those who are in power.
Who's that person? No, I know.
Those people that are in power have to make those tough decisions and have to learn to compromise. So,
well, I think it's equally important that they're still following him. That they're like, you know, he put them in this situation, and everyone's still following him because they know that, you know, Daenerys has put him in charge of the city, and they should trust him. And it's like, I don't trust him, but I need to trust him, and
yeah.
So
we'll see. So
yeah.
How about the Lannisters?
Lannisters, I think it's more of a little, like, this is sort of a smaller thing, but I wanted to hit on it, the fact that, like, the Lannisters and the
Tyrells, yeah.
Lannisters and the Tyrells have kind of gotten together finally,
yeah.
And they're sort of, like, wising up to the High Sparrow's crap. And they're like, no, we're not going to sit and let this guy tear us apart.
Hell no, we won't go.
While he basically overthrows the government, you know what I mean?
Pretty much, yeah.
And as much as you hate both of these families, you're like, yes! Finally, get together and just do something awful to the guy. But I mean, in the same regard, you kind of like, every episode we get to know him a little more, and it's like interesting. The dynamic there is really interesting, because you don't really like anyone there, but you sort of like want something to happen, and you know something's building up, but you just can't really quite get it there. I think in the next episode, or the probably, it looks like from the, you know, preview of the next episode, either the next or the one after that something's gonna happen. I think in King's Landing that's gonna be pretty big, but pretty excited for that. Again, it's just nice to see that the families are finally, like, even though they're all bad guys that you don't like, they're finally getting together and saying, no, enough's enough.
Hell yeah.
And then there's Daenerys.
Yes, I admit I have not been a huge fan of hers for most of the series. But with this particular episode, I think she was majorly kick-ass. Like,
you just like seeing her naked walk out of fire.
Maybe you did. But no, like they brought it up in the after show, the inside the show thing, saying that she didn't have to rely on anybody else. She didn't have to rely on her dragons. She didn't have to be behind like the Dothraki or Khal Drogo. She did it all by herself and killed all of these men because she is a Targaryen and she knows what she's capable of. She's a very powerful person. She knows what she can do, and she did it.
I think that, yes, that's true. Like, that was like one of the funnest things, is the fact that they were just like so against the wall. Like, I sort of thought there'd be almost bigger pushback between them trying to get into the city and rescue her. But once they got into the city, it was pretty much like she already had the plan. She just needed them to take care of the guards. And wow, that was a plan. That was like, wow.
Like perfectly executed. It was like...
And not only that, in one fell swoop, she not only like kills all these people and reclaims her, like feminism, like ooh, I'm agenda, but she also like basically turns this whole village of people into, her followers, and by, which is kind of weird because she did kind of destroy their temple. She did, but.
Yes, but it was for a good cause.
I think it was pretty cool too that like the whole thing felt like a rebirth type thing. It felt like, again, like going back to episode 10 of season 1 where she walked out of the fire with the eggs.
Kind of like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Yeah, and even the front of the hut, the little temple that they have there. That architecture looks similar to like architecture from like Vikings and stuff, and how they have tents that's supposed to be for men go in who are not quite men yet, and then they come out being men, and it's supposed to be, a very rebirth, empowerment type of situation for them, and I can see the same exact like principles, here.
There was definite like symbolism there. Yeah. Absolutely. So
that was pretty neat. I'm excited to see what she finally does. I mean, they're building up quite a big army there, and once she gets back to
Meereen, oh yeah, it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, this episode gave me a lot of hope. Sansa and Jon and Tyrion and the Lannisters and Daenerys. Like, I feel like everybody's finally saying, hell no, we won't go.
Well, enjoy that while it is, because it's not going to end up
I know, right? But it did. It gave me that sense of hope. Like, God, finally, this is the fight's coming. Everybody's saying winter's coming. Well, the fight's coming.
What do you think her future is, though? Like, real quick, I guess a little bit of speculation. Like, what do you think her future is as taking over the group of the Dothraki and bringing them to Meereen and then following her agenda? Do you think they're going to follow that? Do you think they're going to push up against her? Do you think...
Oh, I have no doubt they'll try and push up against her, but I think that she scared the shit out of them, basically, by doing what she did. And so I really don't think it'll take much for them to be like, you're our queen, you're the mother of dragons, we'll do whatever you ask of us, kind of thing. So I don't think it'll be as hard as perhaps it was in the past.
Well, and I kind of wonder if, that's one point of it. Like, are they going to rise up against her when she tries to kind of take the tribe elsewhere or on her agenda or her mission? And then also, or is she going to start more of a rebellion in Meereen? Because the reason why she hasn't left Meereen yet is because she kind of has like the unfinished business of dealing with slavery and stuff there. And so I kind of feel like that's going to blow up in a big way before she gets across the ocean too. I think she's going to have problems with how Tyrion's running things. And I think that's going to blow up in Tyrion's face when she gets back.
Even though I think Tyrion had the best, intentions, I really think she's going to be like, no, that is not what I intended. You didn't do, did my bidding. You did your bidding. And it'll probably come back to bite him in the ass. I agree.
Yeah.
But it was a really good episode.
Well, we enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. I do a podcast called Pixel Wankers every week. Come check out our stuff and enjoy.
Thanks!